Yeah, new series. Let me go over to the live screen. If you haven't seen it, there is a new link in the description. The icegrenade.co.uk/school. Okay, this is going to be your go-to grounds if you're taking part in this. At the moment, if you have a submission to do, so at the moment people are working on a shed. This is where you're going to be able to go to submit it. At the moment, though, send it to me on Discord because I haven't set up this page, okay? I've been busy. I made this before I started work today. I was up really early and I just smashed out this site. And it's not even a site. It's just it's a place for information, okay? So you can see episode 1. And this is what it's going to be about. I'll probably add to the description there. This is the date it took place. If there's any assets that you need, like a skeleton, like one of the tasks I might give you might be like, okay, here's a block out. Turn this into something better. Then here you can download the assets. You better click here, open it up, and there you go. You'll have the assets right here. So later on, what I'll do is I will, I will put whatever I create, like that day for that lesson, into this table as well. So you'll have the task download and also the lesson download. So if you want to get what we've made in the end of a lesson, you can grab that and maybe you can use that for inspiration or to check your scaling and whatnot. So yeah, and then we have the submissions gallery. At the moment this is empty, but what I want to see is everyone contributing, adding their version of the task, and then when we've done that, I'll be putting them in Radiant. I'll be taking some screenshots and throwing them up here so you can see each lesson. If you've been a part of the lesson and you've submitted some work, no matter how, when you submit it, we'll try and get them all here into the gallery so you can see people's different stuff. And you can talk about each other's stuff there. But yeah, for the moment, just chuck them all in the Discord, guys. Yeah, and because this is brand new, I haven't planned out all the courses yet, all the different lessons, but we're going through that. And what is it? Okay, so this is a show which I'm hoping to teach you absolutely everything you need to know to go from absolute nothing to an absolute diamond at development. So, and it's also a place that you can come with all your problems in mapping. Say you've got one problem, one issue that you've really stuck with, something you don't know how to do, something you really want to learn, you can let me know and then I can go through it here as well. So we're going to have different sections. But yeah, exciting stuff, man, exciting stuff. How we doing, Outlaw? Welcome. Shadow, Minto, hello. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Thank you, Capone. I should give you an apple. Hum. Bite the apple. What's up, man? Welcome. Yeah, no, it should be cool. It should be cool. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to walk you through the absolute basics. So how do you get the mod tools? First question anyone will have. If you own Black Ops 3 on Steam, what you want to do, okay, you want to go over here, make sure you have the tools option clicked. So I click the little arrow here at the top. It might just say games for you up here. But in your library, where it says games, click on that. Make sure you add the tools option, okay? And make sure you don't have this button selected. This button will show you what you have currently installed at the time. So you might not have Black Ops 3 installed, okay? So you go down, you go to Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and you're looking for dash mod tools, okay? To make it easier, you can actually hide all the games and just show tools only, and you should find Black Ops 3 mod tools. So you're going to want to go right click, install that, and you're going to want to install it on a fast drive. You don't want to put it on the hard drive. You want to put it on an SSD if you can. And here's the most important thing. Make sure you install it to the same drive that you have the game on. If you have the game and the tools on different drives, it can run into all sorts of problems. So you don't want to do that. And it does let you do that for some reason. So, and then you have all these problems. So make sure same drive and the fastest drive possible. See if you can get at least an SSD. Don't need an M.2, but if you can get an SSD, way better than a hard drive. Hard drive with a library of models is going to be very slow to render. You spend a lot of time waiting for things to come in. You really want to have the SSD here. Okay, if you only have a hard drive, you got to save up, get an SSD, man. If you only got a hard drive and you can't afford an SSD, stick it on a hard drive. Start off with a hard drive. Later on, you can have the process of migrating it across. You back up your custom stuff, migrate it across, and you're good to go. I can walk through that another time. I probably will walk through migration later on because it's something you will have to do when you upgrade your PC, get a new drive. There's a whole loads of reasons for migrating, and it'd probably be a good idea to tell you guys how I go about doing that the safest and fastest and best way. Okay, so step one, you've right-clicked, you've gone install, you picked your hard drive, it started installing. Great, but don't stop there, okay? Go to properties, and then you're going to want to go over to, let me have a look here. So, general DLC, okay. So, I don't have that checked. Wait, why don't I have that checked? I think because I've migrated my whole system and I've got the additional assets, I've got them, but it doesn't say I do, but I actually do have them. So what you're going to want to do, you want to go to DLC after you hit properties and install this additional assets, okay? An extra 100 gigabyte. It's great. There's going to be a whole load more models, textures, everything to help you expand your library. I thought there were, this has changed, this UI actually, because there were more like the Nuketown thing and all these different ones, so I'm not too sure. But yeah, DLC, view more in store. Okay. Yeah, no, let's go there. So I'm going to go to Black Ops 3. Okay. And then we're going to go to properties. No. Go to the store page. How do you just go to store? There, store. Right. Yeah, it looks like my age. Okay. Pretty sure on the DLC, yeah, you can install all of these as well. If you got all the DLC, install the DLC as well. Right. So you've got the mod tools installed. You're gonna want to load up the mod tools. So in Steam, you can go here and you can hit run. Okay. The way that I launch the mod tools is when you go here, you can actually go to right click. You can go to manage and go to browse local files. Okay. And then if you go to bin, I believe, and then in bin, you can get the mod launcher, and I believe you can just right click that, grab a shortcut and stick it on your desktop. So I've done that, and so I've just loaded up the mod tools here. First thing you'll want to do before you do anything else is let this thing run, okay? The first time you open it up, it's gonna spend a long time with its initial setup. So don't worry about that. Let it do its thing. And then the next thing you want to do is start creating your map. So this button here, top left corner, this bad boy, this is your create map button, okay? And every time you make a zombies map, you want to start with ZM underscore. It's a requirement. So ZM underscore, and then you can type whatever you like, okay? Okay, there are limits. You can't put crazy characters in and stuff, but any alphanumeric characters, you can do it. I'm not too sure what the length is, but it'll be pretty long. I always put ice underscore, so I know it's one of my maps. And then I'm going to put episode, this is episode 0. So episode 0. Then you want to pick the template. You're going to have two options here. Okay, you're going to have MP mod and ZM mod. You might have mod as well, I'm not too sure. I've added a few myself, so ignore those. But yeah, you want to pick ZM mod level. Okay, ZM mod level. How we doing, Bibba? And yo, what's up? Welcome to the stream, guys. If you're just tuning in, don't forget to smash that like button. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the likes. Incredible. Incredible. So yeah, pick whatever you want. Maybe it's going to be ZM underscore it's a me or something. I don't know. Pick whatever you like. And then when you've done that, the first thing you want to do, okay, hit OK. And you probably, yeah, I don't know if you have that many things, but now you're going to look for it in this menu. You won't have so many maps. I've just got quite a few maps here. Select it, right? And then do compile, light, link, and then hit build, okay? And run and build the thing, okay? Before you even open up Radiant, you just want to build the thing, okay? So you won't be spending any time waiting for it when you want to test things later on. The next thing you can do, okay, I'm going to explain this. Go here to edit, go to options, okay? And I'm using the Treyarch theme, okay? So the Treyarch theme is just a dark theme, Okay, I like having dark windows. Okay, it's better for you. I don't think it's as harsh on your eyes if you're staring at a screen for a long time and you got it all really bright. I think it just screws your eyes up. So that's my theory. I don't know if that's a load of horse crap or whether that's true or not. But yeah, so I like having dark themes. So that's, you want to do that. Yeah, dark theme for everything. Absolutely everything. Okay. Next thing, build language. You're going to want to pick the language that your mod tools is in. If you're Spanish, you want to pick Spanish. If you're English, you want to pick English. Whatever your mod tools and your version of Call of Duty is that boots up, you want to pick this. For me, it's English. And I think for most, it's probably going to be English. So you want to pick English, right? And this is important. That means that when it compiles all of your sounds and your language data, it's only going to be compiling the English lot of it. So when there's about 10 or so different languages, actually probably more than that, every time you are linking and building your project, it's only going to do English, which is great. And you want to do this while you're developing your map. But this is don't forget for later, and we'll come back to this when we're talking about publishing later on. You're going to want to go back and you're going to want to set it to all, okay? Because if you publish your project on English and a Spanish person downloads your map, they are not going to be able to launch it unless they manually copy and paste files around and give them different names or change their game to be a different language. It's a ball ache. You just want to make sure that when you publish, set that option to all. But it's going to slow down the development because every time you every time you build it, it's going to be building all the different languages. It's completely unnecessary if you're only catering for English anyway. So, yeah, much faster to work with it in English. Leave it in English, check English, done. So, good to freaking go. We're going to get to these buttons later on. But all you need to know right now is that, yeah, when this is finished, this is usually the last message you're going to look for in the compiler. So this window down here, this window is the compiler log, okay? So this will tell you, whenever you have a problem with your map, it should tell you here. 99% of the time, it'll tell you. Say you've messed up a sound, or you got a broken image, or you got anything that's messed up or done wrong, it will tell you in here when you build it. So this is very important. It's written in plain English. It's not an alien language. Yeah, there is some like boilerplate jargon here, like a date stamp and then an info. But if you read this, some of it makes sense. Leaf tiles probably makes no sense to anybody. But if you look at it and you have an error, you usually tell you in simple English what's happened. And you just need to look out and try and understand what's going on there. So here we got a error file, unknown pre-compiler directive image, okay. But it didn't kill the build, it continued on, so it wasn't like a fatal error. That's probably something that would be good to fix. I'm not too sure what that problem is, but moving on. Yeah, this is the main thing you're gonna look for. Done, okay? Done and a time. This signifies that it completed, okay, and it's good. And it'll tell you how long it took to do the build. So yeah, that's what you're gonna look for, and then you know, okay, well it's done. Now we can run the thing. So you want to uncheck these, run, and you can load up your first map. So let's do that right now. We're going to load this up. The old program, how you doing, man? You right? Welcome to the stream. Hype, hype. Vraxy, how we doing, Vraxy? What's up? All right. So I'm gonna pause the old music there just for now, and this is loading up. So this is your first project. You've already done it, ladies and gentlemen. You've made a map, okay? This is the time for me to end the stream and say congratulations, publish to the workshop. But no, don't you do that, okay? Because I will beat you up. Too many people do that, okay? Too many people submit the base map without doing anything. Don't be like one of those people, okay? You want to make sure that you make a good map, okay? And I'm going to tell you that straight out the box, it is not a working map. There are a few things you need to do, some of the fundamental necessities to make a working map. And we're going to go through that, so don't you worry, okay? But just know that without doing absolutely anything, we are already in the game and we are in the test map, okay? So this is going to be your home, okay? So get comfy, stick your feet up, put a fire on, put on your favorite slippers, because we're about to go in and get down and dirty with the mod tools, okay? So you can see here, this is freaking cool, isn't it? You should give yourself a pat on the back, because you have already started your journey to making your very own map. We've got a few different things here, and the reason this is all laid out is this just to show people these are the different things, the different elements they're going to be working with in your map. Some of the most core gameplay things. Yeah, it's a little bit basic, okay? It's a little bit basic. We've got a mystery weapon box, which isn't there and is broken, but we'll fix that. We've also got no dogs spawning in, and we'll fix that. We have a barrier, which is quite nice to show you that, okay, you can have zombies spawning a barrier. And I believe there's a spawner node as well, so they rise from the floor. We've got a wall buy to show you that you can buy guns off the wall. And we've got a few perks, and also the pack-a-punch machine and the power, okay? So off the bat, we've got a whole load of things. We've got sky, the sunlight is built. You can see the shadow pump down here. So we've got a skybox. We've got a weapon. Well, we've got all the stock weapons. And it just shows you the fundamentals, okay? So, yeah, it gives you a little bit more to work with. What I'm going to do, guys, is I will probably on the next episode, or maybe we'll do part of this episode, we can just expand the tutorial map and show you and give that as a download, so you guys can just drag and drop it and you can have a slightly better map. But yeah, that's really cool. And now you've probably got like a million different ideas on what you want to make. Let's get going, okay? So you want to right click on your level and just open in Radiant, okay? So this will open up the project, and welcome to your new home. This is the Radiant editor, okay? It might not look quite like this, but I'm going to go through some of the basics, okay? And you can have it look however you like. Depends on how many screens you've got, depends on the size of your screens and what you're comfortable with. Yeah, because it's getting a bit serious, I'm gonna take my coat off and I'm gonna sit down and we're gonna go through this right now. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get into the game. I call it a game because it really is. Like, at the end of the day, the mod tools are like, it's like Minecraft, but you're not limited by squares, okay? You're not limited by what other people have made. You can make anything you want, okay? So it probably looks a little bit different on yours, but I'm going to go through some of the basics before we even start here. First thing you'll want to know how to do, okay, is move your windows around, okay? So we've got a camera view here, we've got an XY top view here, okay, and we've got an entity browser view here. Oh, do I hide the top overlay? Yeah, I'm going to hide that top overlay because it's getting in the way, and for this specific part here. Okay, so yeah, what you're going to want to know, what we're going to want to do is move your windows around. At the moment, I've got all sorts of windows all over the place, and there's a lot of hotkeys that you're going to pick up. Don't worry about the hotkeys. When you're starting out, just know that you can right-click anywhere in this grey area, anywhere at the grey area at the top, and you'll get a list of different stuff, and this will give you all the different stuff that you're going to need, okay? So if you can't see your texture and you want to get to your textures, you can click on textures there. You can right-click up here, you get to your models here, okay? So, yeah, don't worry. You can always right-click at the top, and you can go down and you can get whatever view, whatever panel that you need. But let's just say that yours looks a little bit different, okay? Maybe your textures is down here. I keep all my secondary panels in one area here, and then I keep my camera and XY here. Sometimes I even put them all on the right and have my camera on the left. But it's very versatile. You can do whatever you like. You can have it however you like. Literally, there's a million different options. And yeah, this is what I'm going to talk about. To move them, you just grab the tab. Okay, so where it says camera here, grab that. I'm holding my mouse, and then when you start moving it around the screen, it shows you where it's going to move it to. So if you put it in the middle of a panel, it's going to go in the same place. So if I put it here, now it's in the same place as the XY, okay? So the grid view and the camera in the same place. So you grab it again, you go to the left, it's going to stick it on the left-hand side. So if you wanted to, you could get crazy and just have like a whole load of different panels. But yeah, I like having a big camera view and seeing what we're doing, because you can do a lot of stuff with hotkeys when you start picking them up. How do I make that animated t-shirt? Hey, that's not part of the tools, okay? That's a special thing. Anyways, how are you doing, Mr. Fowl? Hello. And Mr. Yerger. How are we doing? Welcome to the stream. Phil as well. Hello, Phil. Welcome to the stream, guys. So yeah, just know you can put them wherever you like. I like having my camera on the left, and then I like having my grid on the right of the camera, and then everything else on the right. You can have it however you like, okay? You can really drag things down. At the bottom half, it will go in the bottom half. Top half, it will go in the top half. Left and right to go on the left. Or in the center, we'll just, you know, pile them up together. So yeah, move them around. Now we've got it where we want it. Yeah, we can go to that. If you press P on your keyboard, I'm thinking P for Peter. Well, what the hell is P? Papa. If you press P for Papa, then you can go here and you can change what your camera looks like. So I've set mine to 120. I think yours will be either 60 or 90 by default. I like having a wide angle, okay? So I'm going to show you what that means, okay? It's your FOV, your field of view, and what it looks like in the editor, okay? So I like being able to see a wide angle. So I go to camera, I set mine to 120. You don't want to go too big, okay? If you go too big, what's going to happen is it's going to look really distorted, and your ability to perceive how normal the building looks is going to go down to a point where it's gonna be hard to create things proportionally accurately. But it is cool. It is cool running around with a fisheye sort of view. But yeah, 120 is a sweet spot for me, because that is the top end of what players with a high spec PC are going to be using. You can see a bit more. Good to go. So yeah. Next thing is, how am I moving? Okay, that's one of the first things you're going to need to do. One of the first things you want to learn is how to move around. Okay, I do have a separate tutorial on how to do this, if that's what you're interested in. I'll see if I can find it right now. Let's go have a look. I do have a lot of old tutorials, but the thing is they're quite old and I do things quite differently. So you're gonna get a fresh view on how you do everything. Now I think it's called Move Like a Pro. I don't think that even goes. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna show you that. Move Like a Pro on my channel. It's old, but yeah. So how am I moving around? First thing I want to know: right click on the mouse, hold the right click button. We're now going around, and I'm using the right click button. Okay, so the right click button is all you're gonna want to use to go around here. That will move you on the same plane. Okay, it's kind of like the UFO mode. You won't be able to change your Z-axis. You're just running around and going left and right. Okay, the next thing is keep hold of your right mouse button, and now you can hold control as well. This locks your ability to turn. So if I let go of the control button, see I'm turning and I'm going around. You hold control, you can't turn, but now you go up and down instead, but you can still pan, okay? So you're going to use a combination of holding the right click, and then every now and then you hold control to go up and down, okay? And then the last thing is hold shift and control. So I'm holding shift and control, and it locks you in a single spot, and it allows you to orbit around, or it's like reverse orbit, look around on the spot. So yeah, this is really useful. So right mouse going around, hold control, go up and down, and then hold shift to point your camera. So if you want to go look at this guy over here, okay, so you want to look at that guy over there, you're probably going to zoom over holding right click, then hold control as well, control and right click, and then say you go past, you can use control shift and right click to look at it. So combination of right click, holding the right click button, and using control and shift is how you get around the camera view, okay? In the grid view, right click pans, okay? You don't need, it's not the same controls. So with the grid view, what you're going to want to do is right click to pan, but you're going to be just, I don't even pan. I just zoom out, zoom in, okay? Zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, okay? The next thing you want to know is how to select stuff, okay? So you can select stuff in a whole bunch of ways, okay? with arrows. Move with arrows. Oh yeah, if you hold the mouse button. Yo! Thank you, Sitch, for the continued membership. Legend, man. Legend, man. Thank you. So yeah, that's a new... I've just learned this. You can hold the right mouse button and you can use the arrow keys to move around. I've got used to using the control and shift though. I don't see myself using those. The last thing I would say, if you get an Xbox controller, I'm pretty sure it works on PlayStation, I'm not sure though. If you get an Xbox controller, you can use an Xbox controller and you can fly around as if you're in a spectator mode. You know, triggers to go up and down, okay? RB to go really fast, and then just both analog sticks to move around, okay? And then in all combinations, it's really good actually to record like trailers and stuff using the camera, because you can do like really cool orbiting pans and stuff, which you can't do with your keyboard and mouse, okay? So yeah, really cool. This is how I get all of my my cool video captures. But yeah, 50-minute shed here. Alright, man, I will send it to me on Discord. I will include it in. So next thing is selecting. You hold shift. So this is one of the really cool things about Radiant. They've made the most used keys, okay, that you're going to use to move around, the same keys that you use to select. So your hands pretty much stay in the same place. Your hands are going to be hovering over the control and shift keys, because moving around and then holding control and shift, okay, and you're going to use shift to select stuff. So you hold shift and left click, and you hold shift and you left click, and you can click all these different things. If you click it again, it will deselect. And also to deselect everything, you press escape. You're going to use the escape key quite a lot, okay? Escape will always deselect stuff, so you can hit escape. And if you select something and you can move it, you can press Control Z to go back. So it's like any other program. You can press Control Z to go back. So you might have moved it up, you might have moved it right, and then you might have moved it down here. And you can go back, and you can go back. It does have pretty long history, but the history is a little bit broken with verts and rotation of verts. So just be a bit careful about that. But yeah, it works for the most part. Thought it would be a shed tour. We're going to get to the sheds very soon. If you have submitted a shed, that is awesome. We're going to go through your submission very soon. And we're going to be setting a challenge every episode. This episode here is an introduction to Radiant, and also the shed as well. Set yourself a challenge. But yeah, the shed is the challenge for this stream, and it comes at the end of the stream. So we still got about an hour or so until we're going to go talking about the shed. But yeah, we'll get to that. So next thing you want to know is there's a lot going on, isn't there? So you have what's called a filter window here. This filters window, okay, I'm just gonna stick it here for a second. This will temporarily hide stuff in your view. This here is a volume. This is we'll get to this later on, but at the moment we're just going to hide it. You can hide it here. You can press this little X here. If you've got something selected, it will always show. But yeah, as soon as you unselect it, it will hide. So yeah, you can hide and show stuff that are the same entity type here. This filter window is very handy to be able to keep making sense of what's going on in your camera port, okay? Cheers, Raz. How you doing, man? Welcome, buddy. Yeah, at the moment, we have a challenge on this stream where you got to build this shed here. Okay, build this in Radiant, and then later on we're going to review what people have made, give you some tips on how to improve, and just, yeah, general bits of feedback. If you really don't want feedback, you just want to submit what you've done, then let me know discreetly. But yeah, we're going to submit, we're going to picture your stuff and put it in the gallery. But yeah, so you need to make that shed. So you can right click, open view in new tab, and you want to make that in Radiant. Okay, but yeah, we'll view at the end of the lesson. We're going to go through that. Okay. We've been going for 36 minutes. Okay. Okay. So it looks like my mic is maxing out. Let me bring that down a little bit. That looks good. Sphinx, how we doing, man? Never use the find and replace. Ah, okay. So, what is that? What is Sphinx talking about? Okay, I've pressed T on the keyboard. T for Tango will bring up the textures panel. Okay, the textures panel is pretty handy. Okay, the textures panel you're going to be using to give stuff different materials. Okay, but you can see this here, this here, this here, but they're all using this script floor ceiling texture. Okay, which is one of the default textures. Okay, what Sphinx is talking about is you can double click here in this panel here, make sure nothing's selected, double click, then you'll see a blue dotted line around it, and then you can press Shift A. Okay, that is going to select everything that is using that texture. You can then apply a texture like that. Okay, so you can double click, Shift A, and you can apply a texture. But what Sphinx is talking about is it doesn't work the way you'd think. It doesn't only select surfaces that are using that texture. It will select an entire entity if it has one of those textures installed. So right now I'm just changing this at the moment. We'll change it to a different material here. Okay, so one side of it is red and the other side is yellow. Well, if we go and select all of the yellow, it's going to select the whole thing. So when you change it, it's now changed the whole model. Sorry, the whole geo, the whole BSP, which you might not have wanted. You might have only wanted to select the yellow. So just be careful that if you have done specific surface coloring on BSP, it will select the whole thing when you do a mass replace. But yeah, you don't need to worry about that right now. So how are we doing what we're doing right now? We can select a brush. Okay, these are called brushes. Your BSP, your Geo, they've got a lot of different names, but essentially they are known as a brush. Okay, and you're going to be using this quite a lot in your map to build all sorts of things. Okay, to do your clips, to do ground clips, to do even to do some parts of the level design. You're going to want to use models for the most part, but you will be using this. It's quite good for blocking out and trying out and seeing what a map's like. Okay, I'm not going to go too deep into the principles and concepts of block out, but I'll probably brush over it a little bit. Pun not intended there, but yeah. Okay, so if you select a brush, you can actually go into the textures panels here, and at the top here you can type in whatever you like. Concrete. Okay, you have all sorts of concrete textures. Glass, you'll find all sorts of glass textures. You think of it, it's probably in there. You want to have paint that's red, you'll probably find something that's paint and red, and you can double click on it and it will apply that texture. Notice that I clicked on this one, okay, and it's gone invisible. Why is that? Not all textures render solid. Okay, we have all sorts of different material types. Okay, and just the fundamental thing that you need to learn, don't worry about the like thousands of different types right now, is that you have two main types. Okay, so two main types. One, you have structural textures. Okay, they're called structural textures. They're called non-decals. They go by a lot of different names. You can have a non-structural texture, so maybe structural is not the best word to use, but non-decal is the way to go, and you have decals. This right here is what you call a decal texture. Okay, for the most part, the easiest way to think about this is if it goes invisible and it's only one on its own, it's most likely a decal texture. If it's solid and you can see it without something behind it, it's probably going to be a non-decal texture. There are exceptions to that, but just know that when you're picking them, just know that you probably picked a decal texture. And decals are one way of adding detail to your level, and we're going to get to that later on. You can actually specify the material type at the top right corner here, and you can pick non-decals. Okay, so if you only want to work with solid textures, it's only going to give you solid textures that you're going to get here. So initially you're probably going to only be interested in these solid textures and not in decals. Decals will come later on, okay? Yeah. So that's just one thing to note, that if you don't get confused, okay, if you're like, oh, why I've made a wall but it's invisible, you know, make sure you pick a solid texture there. Okay, so we've changed this. You can also change the locale and the surface type. This can be quite good if you don't really know what sort of floor you want, but you want a floor texture. You can go here to the top left here and pick the floor usage. So floor usage, and that will filter them and only show you floor textures, okay? Once again, we probably want to go to the non-decals. So you can pick a floor decal. Yeah, and you can also go here and you pick door, you can pick all sorts of different stuff. There's also surface types. Maybe you only want like carpet type of floors, so you can pick carpet. Maybe only interested in like assault type textures here, or brick textures. I understand people probably say that word differently. Assault, I don't really know what. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, you understand what I mean. Asphalt. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot to cover, so we're just going to go through it all in time, don't you worry. So you can apply different textures, okay? This is cool. The amount of maps on the workshop, though, that is just, people have only learned that, oh, okay, look at this. Look, guys, okay, I know how to do textures, okay? I know how to do textures. So I've done texture. I've made a new map. Publish. Don't publish yet. Don't publish, okay? Oh, just don't, man. Yeah, don't be publishing this early. You have a lot to learn. Beat you up, okay? Don't publish. Don't be one of them. Nobody likes people that publish maps like this, okay? You're better than that. We got a long way to go, okay? But don't you worry, okay? It's going to be a good fun ride. So let's start building some stuff, okay? You picked a fancy texture. Pick whatever you like, okay? There's all sorts of textures. If you don't have the texture that I have, just know that I've got like a crazy amount of assets on my mod tools. So you're probably going to have stuff, but that you probably won't have the exact stuff, but you might have similar stuff. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all good. So yeah, you can press Shift A, and it will select all of these textures, okay? So if you want to select all of these textures right here, double click Shift A. Cool. How many people have sent in sheds? Let me have a look. Okay, wood shed. Got one there. Mad gas. Got one there. All mad gas. That's cool. A bit of improvise there. Cool. Well, we're going to get to those later on. We've had 4 shed submissions, I believe. 4 shed submissions. If you have a submission you want to make for the shed, do go for it. Okay, so the next thing is we have built the light in the compiler. That was the first thing we did. But you probably don't have this lightning bolt here. So in your camera view, if you go over into the gray area, you're going to want to enable this exposure button here. So right click and make sure that exposure is enabled. This is going to give you a whole load of buttons here. Okay. Don't worry about what they do right now. Okay. Don't worry about what they do. But you're going to want this lightning bolt. Okay. This lightning bolt will build the light. Okay. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what building light is. Built light, baked light, built light, whatever you want to call it. Baked light is the official term. Is the light in the game, okay? At the moment, the light in this game is coming from the sun, okay? So the sun is emitting light and it's casting these shadows on the ground. And that's really cool. But I don't want to go too in depth. We're going to get in depth later on. But yeah, you can DM me the shed, or send it on the Discord in the open channel. Baked light needs to be baked, okay? So it isn't done in real time. So if I move this wall, the shadow is still there, okay? I can save the project, I can play the game, and the shadow will still be here. Because this light only update. Sorry, this shadow will only, just shadow data and the light data will only update once you hit this lightning bolt here, the bake lights button. Okay, you can see when it's done because in the top left corner it will go orange or green here. When it's red, it is in the middle of baking. Okay, also the icon itself will show a red cross through it when it's in the middle of baking. So if I move this wall now again, you can see now the shadow's over there. We bake and then it moves the shadow. So yeah, baking lights, you're going to want to do that every time you want to update the lighting and see what's going on. Let's look at your XY top view. This is the grid view. And I just want to change one thing here. So if you right click here, you want to make sure that you have the grid size ticked. You want all of these ticked, okay? All of these little options. When you right click on your grid view panel. So you want all those checked. So now you'll see all these different things, okay? And these different options here. Okay, this is important. On your keyboard, above your letters, Q, U, E, R, Y, T, you know, you have your numbers, okay? I'm not talking about the number pads on the right, but on the top of your keyboard, you have the numbers underneath your function keys. This will change the grid size. If you look on this one here, we're changing the grid size. And I'll talk to you about that in a second. But we're looking here. So in the grid view, what you can do is you can actually drag, just left mouse button, click and draw, okay? And it's going to draw out a brush. And there, as simple as that, we have made a brush. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. You have done it. You've made a brush. You've just pretty much built about 50 blocks in Minecraft in about 2 seconds. Who cares about Minecraft, man? You have just done it. You've just made 50 blocks. Okay? You can have a block, okay? Like a Minecraft block. There you go, done, okay? You could even build them like this if you like, but there are limits to how many brushes you can have, okay? And you don't want to just carelessly build them, okay? You're not going to want to build a brush like this with like individual pieces. You want to try and optimize it as much as you can. Only use one. Okay, you don't need to like have multiple things. You can just have one. Try and use as little as you can to achieve the most that you can, okay? Yeah. So that's it. You can just draw in here as much as you like. Press escape when you're finished. Escape. So draw, left click, drag, draw, and it's all good, okay? So Z indexing. Let's talk about Z indexing. So here we go. We got two brushes here, and they're drawn, and they have the face is in the same place, okay? That's not good. You want to avoid that. You want to put things next to each other, not overlapping. If there's any overlap, it can make the textures spaz out and go crazy, and you don't want that, okay? Usually when you've got two selected, it'll glow brighter green, okay? If you want to see the green tint, you can press Shift J, okay? Shift J, okay? I'm really testing my phonetic alphabet here. What is J? J for Jesus. I don't know. What is J? Juliet, okay? So you can press J for Juliet. J for Juliet will hide and show the outline. So when you have a brush selected, pressing J for Juliet will hide and show the white outline. Holding Shift and pressing J for Juliet will show the tint, okay? The tint's not perfect. On custom terrains and stuff, and we'll get to this later on, sometimes it gets a bit messed up and it will show in the wrong place. So the tint can be a bit messed up. Usually the outline is always fine though. But yeah, this can be handy for a lot of reasons. It can be good for, in this case here, you can see, oh look, it's bright here. Okay, well there must be a colliding texture there. So yeah, you can see it there, and also it's quite good for visualizing what brush you have selected when you have a high density of brushes or models or whatnot. Well, actually, yeah, not for models, but yeah. So yeah, the tint's good for visualizing in the camera view what you have selected. But sometimes it can get in the way. If you're trying to detail stuff, you want to be hiding that. So the ability to turn that off and on is really good. And J, sometimes it's quite good to work with just the, yeah, to work without it. But most time, you're probably going to work with it off. Can flash as well, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. If you have two textures here and they overlap, okay, when you move around, you see that, can you see that flashing? Okay. So I've got these two textures and they're overlapping. But when I move around, you can see that they're actually flashing, okay? And this is, it's annoying in effect because they're in the same place. The engine goes, I don't know, what one do you want to see, okay? It's called Z fighting, Z axes, Z layering, Z conflict. It's usually called Z conflict, but this is the X view. It's a surface confliction. The program doesn't know what you want to have and you which one you want to have showing at the top. So it'll show both and it'll flick between them. And this is a bug, okay? It's human error, and you'll find it in a lot of maps, even tryout maps, because it's quite hard to miss in some cases. Sometimes it's as little, you know, as that much, just a tiny little edge there, this tiny little edge, and it'll be flashing. And that's because you have two edges, two faces that are colliding. So you want to try and avoid that, okay? Put stuff next to each other to avoid that, okay? If you have if you have misaligned textures here, you can actually select the one that you want to copy, well, to change, and then middle click the one you want to copy from. So now it's actually lined up. I use that all the time. You can even specify just this one side. That is, okay, so that's probably the next thing I want to show you actually. So shift is to select stuff. Holding shift, you can click around and select stuff. But you don't always want to select the whole object. Sometimes you just want to select that one face, okay? You can do that by holding Control and Shift. So Control and Shift changes it from selecting the whole entity to selecting just the face. So Shift to select, okay? And Shift Control to select or deselect a face, okay? Really handy. You're going to want to use this later on. But yeah, so say we want to Shift Control, select that face, middle mouse click. We're going to now copy that texture from what's next to it. But yeah, pretty cool. 32 likes, let's go! Thank you guys. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying this. So yeah, we just drawn some random crap. Okay, let's do something interesting. Okay, before we do that, I'm going to talk about standards because standards are very important. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to get a bob in your environment. You're not going to have Bob, so if we press M on your keyboard to get to models, just bear in mind if you're on textures and you're in this filter selection, you press M, it's just going to start typing in there. So you can yeah, select it, backspace, press escape, okay? Click in the camera view somewhere, okay? Click in the camera view so that the focus is no longer here in this filter, or even click in here. Just to make sure that when you're changing panels, you're not inside a text box because it will start trying to type in there. You press M, and now it takes us over to the models, okay? Which is great. And you'll see that somewhere you have a default character here. If you don't have it in your, and you can filter by what's in all of the library, what you have in this level, and yeah. It's or you can have, yeah, I don't use that option there actually. Favorites as well. I used to use favorites quite a lot. Yeah, favorites is quite cool. If you use a whole load of different models quite frequently, you can actually right click and you can do add to favorites, and then when you go to favorites here, it shows here, which can be quite handy. I used to use this a lot, but I've wiped my tools and there's a lot of stuff I need to set back up again, which is quite good for you guys. How you doing, Andrew? Welcome. No idea what you're talking about, mate, but welcome to the stream. Don't worry, Revs. Everyone starts somewhere. You'll be a king of sheds in no time, my friend. Yeah. Later on, we're like this series. This is a brand new series. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to make your own maps. It's also going to include any problems you guys have. I can answer on the spot. We'll add it into the different segments. The way this show goes, okay, is we have different segments on the show. So yeah, it's 5 to 10 minutes intro, then we've got an hour-long tutorial time, and then we've got 30 minutes to an hour of the lab session helping each other out. And then we've got the 30 minutes of task setting and review. So here we go. So we did the intro and told you what we're going to do, and then we started the tutorial time. We're on the tutorial time now. We've actually been going a little bit longer than 45 minutes, about an hour on this, or a bit over an hour. And then we got the lab session helping you guys out. And then we got the task setting and the review, okay? So, yeah, we'll go through that. Don't forget that anytime you can go to https icegrenade.co.uk/school to see the latest of what is going on, okay? I'm going to stick that on the Discord as well, okay? So here, feel free to share anything related to the school lessons. So in this, it's if you're getting any problems here, anything we've talked about in this lesson or the next lesson or any lessons, talk about it here. Or if you need me, but yeah, anything you want help in, put it in here to do with the school. But yeah, any other help, Mappers Hub here. Got lots of people helping each other out in these two channels here. But yeah. IceGrenade, hey, I don't know where you put this, but in your new Radiant School, can you go over custom perk hard icons and tab menu? Yeah, we can go through that. We can go through that later on. That's a little bit more advanced than what I want to be doing right now, but definitely, man. 100%. We're going to be doing that. We're covering everything. Guys, if you have not smashed that like button yet, please hit that like button. Thank you, every single one of you that has. Let's freaking go. Crispy, how we doing? Crispy, what's up? Junior Lopez and RYZEN. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. So yeah, have a go at this, ladies and gentlemen, and just making all sorts of stuff, okay? What I would say is, what we want you to try and make this lesson is this shed, okay? So you can go to the Radiant School link. You'll find a picture of it here. There's actually you can download the picture here if you hit download assets. Anytime that we have assets, or if I give you a template asset to work with, or a template map or prefab or anything, you'll be able to click this download assets for that particular episode and download them straight away. There we go. So you can see in here, we got the shed image. There it is, the shed image, okay? So go ahead, get that shed image, okay? I'll put a link to this in the description. There should be a link in the description already. I'll put a link in the chat as well. Or if we got 40? Maybe we've got 40. Should we go? Can we get to 50? Anyways, let's build the shed, okay? This is your first challenge, okay? To build the shed. My first bit of advice is going to be about proportions. So if you go to models, you press M on the keyboard, go to models, and you can type in the word default, okay? Default. You'll come up with the default character. I've already got it selected. So a little bit more like this. You should find, on my default character is blue. I think yours is white by default. Anyway, you can actually drag that model in. So click mouse on him, drag him into the camera view, and then let go of your mouse, and it will paste him where your mouse is, okay? You can do the same thing on the grid view. Drag him into the grid view. The thing with the grid view is, it's not going to get the Z axes right. So I usually drag into the camera view, okay? The next thing is, see how we're moving this guy, and he's got fluid motion, and then we can change it, the snap on grid, okay? This snap on grid, this option here, is really important, okay? If you have this off, you never want to have this off, basically. Never have it off. It's really bad. We can get to why it's bad later on, but it's really bad. So yeah, you can do Control C, Control V, and then move to copy and paste something. But yeah, let's talk about the snap to grid. At the moment, the snap to grid is on grid 32. You can press the open brackets and close brackets. Open square bracket, close square bracket, and it will go up and down. So when it's down, it can have a lot more fidelity in the movement. When it's up a grid, it's moving around, and it will show you in the grid view the size of the grid you're working with. So yeah, like if we make it so his hand is touching this corner here, when we have this grid, it's always going to touch the corners. in this grid, okay? Because the grid size on 30, well, is on 16 right now. But yeah. So yeah, really important. Try and be on the biggest grid that you can when you're working, because it helps align stuff, keep everything nice. If you're working off grid, Control G snaps the grid to the nearest point. That's a good thing to say. Yeah, you can use Control G to snap the origin of an object to the grid. So if we've built a square like this, and it's kind of on this grid, you're always going to want to work on a big grid. You can use Control G, and it's going to snap it so it aligns with the grid. Okay. I'll explain what I'm doing in a second, but this is a terrain patch. We'll get to that later on, but you can do the same thing with terrain patches, okay? So if a terrain patch is not quite on a grid, you can use Control G. But yeah, you can use Control G to snap the verts as well. So it's not just brushes, everything will move. But yeah, we'll get to terrain later on. A bit more advanced in this tutorial. But yeah, so we got your brush here. Thing I want to note is you're going to want to know that you can use the H key to hide stuff, okay? So now that guy's gone, okay? H to hide. What is the phonetic for H? Henry, Harry, no. Her, ham, hat. I can't think of what H is, man. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Fox, Gamma, no, Golf. Hotel. Yes, hotel. I should know that, man. But thank you. Hotel, how you doing? PL, welcome, PL. So yeah, if you use the H key, Hotel H, you can hide. You can use Shift H to unhide, okay? So Shift to select, H to hide, Shift H to unhide. So this is really handy, because sometimes when you're looking in the grid view, it can be a mess. You just want to see the height of this object compared to this guy here. You can move around in the camera view, but for the best and most optimal way of seeing height is you're going to want to look in the grid view to align stuff. Usually you place stuff in the camera view and then you align it with precision in the grid view, and you use this to check heights of stuff and to neaten stuff up and to align stuff nicely. But yeah, yeah, to paste stuff around the place like this, Control Alt left click, exactly what Sphinx is saying there. You can also do Control Alt middle click, and that will paste the object that you have in your hand, but it won't paste a copy. It will move the existing copy you have. I have a very sensitive mouse scroll wheel, so if you've got it where your camera's moving around as you're pasting, it's because your mouse wheel is moving. If your mouse wheel doesn't move, your camera won't move. But yeah, so yeah, we pasted quite a few bobs here. Next thing I can tell you is you're going to want to know how to switch your grid. That is holding Control and pressing Tab. I did tell you a lot of the keys are going to be Control, Shift, and Alt and whatnot. Your hand is going to stay in the same place for the most part. But yeah, Control and Tab, you're going to use this a lot. Quickly shift to switch to this one. Say you want to select him. It's selecting the skybox, okay? You can go to press the F key and you can actually hide all the volumes here. So you can actually go down. It's always going to select the first thing from the sky downwards that it touches. So it won't select the floor under him, okay? If you want to select the floor under him, you've got to click the floor under him. But you can select him, you could hide and then select the floor under him. But yeah, say you want to select a whole group of these guys. Yeah, you could go around holding Shift and clicking on all of these guys. But that took like 8 to 10 seconds. You can select them all at once using what's called a marquee select, okay? And a marquee select, you're going to want to go around the whole entity. Sometimes it's not just like perfectly around it. It's not always perfectly around it. Sometimes you want to go a little bit bigger to select it. And this will select anything that is inside the blue box when you let go, okay? So marquee select is Shift Alt, holding Shift Alt and then left click drag. If you left click drag without holding Shift Alt, you're going to be drawing brushes, okay? But if you hold Shift, Shift Alt, you select using the marquee select. Very handy. Use it all the time. It's really handy if you've got like a million things on the screen, okay? And you just want to select like this probe right here. There's a million things in the way. Shift Alt, marquee select over it, and it will select that probe. Really handy. But yeah, so Control and Tab to be switching between the views, and Shift and Alt to be selecting using the marquee. Very handy. We're going to get rid of all these bobs. We don't need to. But we're going to use the Shift Alt, and we're going to select Bob, and we're going to select the floor. I'm going to select the speed cola machine there. Now we're going to show you the next thing. You can do hide with H. You can do Shift hide, which will unhide stuff. But the next one is Shift Alt H. You're going to use this all the time. Shift Alt H is amazing. It hides everything that you're not selected. That's not selected. So yeah, you can of course go to selection here. And I believe, is it view? I use the hotkeys, so yeah, I use the hotkeys, so I don't even know. Usually there's a oh, I'm gonna ignore that. I thought you could hide using that. I'm thinking of Unreal probably, but yeah. Shift Alt H. Shift Alt H will hide everything else, which is great. Now, in the grid view, we can see Bob, the default character, and we can see the box. Okay. Well, a shed is usually going to be, and we want to probably move Bob so that he's here, and yeah, we probably want to. We want to use Bob to help design the height of this. Next thing to note is this little number here. So when you've created a brush, it will say Y number and Z number here. If you're looking from a different angle, it'll say Y and X. It will show the axes and how long it is on the axes. Okay, so the width, height, and length of something. And these numbers they do correlate to a real unit of measurement. They are inches, okay, so it has a 48 inches of width, so that is 48 inches of width, and it is, so it's now 64, and now it is 88 in height. A player is 72 inches in height, and a player has a collision radius of 32, so you can create all sorts of special entities. So I copy pasted that. Go up to here. You can go patch primitives, and these are all sorts of funky cool stuff. We'll get to them later on. I'm just going to get a cylinder so I can show you that is pretty much the collision that a player has right there. So when you're designing stuff, you want to know that a player is going to have a collision of that. So you want to make sure that your doors are minimum that wide, otherwise the player won't be able to go through. Okay, but you're going to want to make doors a little bit wider than that to help pathing of zombies and the general feel. So the general standards can actually be found in the Black Ops 3 mod tools root. If you go to your Black Ops 3 root, and you're going to go to this a lot, by the way, so I would recommend that when you get there, okay, go up a folder, go to your Black Ops 3. You want to right click and you want to pin to quick access. Okay, so pin that bad boy to quick access so that it shows up here on the left. So you can just click here when you open up your file explorer, click here and go straight over to your root of your Black Ops 3. So you're going to go here quite a lot. All right, go to the docs mod tools. In here is a lot of lovely reading material. You can read all of this. Okay, a lot of good stuff. But to get started, I would really recommend reading the scale standards. Okay, open up this PDF, and it will tell you all of the standards. So here you can see what I was just telling you about, 72 inches in height, 32 inches in diameter. This is the what players are going to be as they're going around. So believe it or not, but when you're like walking underneath stuff or walking around stuff or through doors, you're actually colliding. You are a cylinder. The game doesn't think about anything else when you're running around. You are a cylinder, okay? So you have to design your world around that. So if you want to be able to prone underneath stuff, you need at least 32 inches. To be able to crouch underneath stuff, 52. And then 72 to be able to walk underneath stuff. But bear in mind that zombies don't usually... you don't usually have much crouch underneath stuff, because you need to think about the pathing for zombies. It's okay if it's very narrow. You know, if this is only like a couple inches of a tunnel, or like underneath a railing or something, and then zombies can usually get and hit you when they're close enough. But yeah, just be careful that you don't make too long tunnels, like too long of a tunnel, and then zombies won't be able to get to you. So these are covered. This is mainly multiplayer standards. You don't need to worry about it too much. But yeah, it's interesting when you're designing tables and stuff. If you want to be able to crouch underneath them and look over the table, you want to take these into account. But yeah, all sorts of other interesting measurements here. So hallway with combat, you want to have 160-inch minimum. Okay, so that's saying if you have a corridor, so let's quickly make a corridor. I'm going to put the grid on. I'm pressing 6 on the keyboard. Okay, actually no, let's go down to 4. Okay, go down to 4. We've made a couple walls here. We got Bob over here, but we want to just draw a brush here and see how wide that is. That is 112 long. So let's drag that out until it gets to 160. Okay, so now notice that you can select multiple things, and if you drag outside, so I'll show you with one item yet first. With the brush, in the brush, you can draw you can draw the size when you're first creating it. When you have it selected, you can also change the size. If you're underneath it, you'll be able to pull it in and out, you know, to grow it in and out of that angle. And wherever my mouse goes, it's always going to just move that one axis. If I go above it, the same thing, the opposite. It'll move that wall in and out. If I go to the right, that wall in and out. If I go in between the right and the bottom, so this corner, it will expand it, okay, on that axis. So, yeah, depending on what area you pick. And let me just draw this real quickly so you can have a quick understanding. But yeah, basically, imagine that around the object you have selected, that you draw a line over all of the lines that extends out, okay? Okay, and extend this out, okay? If you pick anywhere inside of here, it will extend it out this way. Anywhere, extend it this way. Anywhere, it will extend it this way. Anywhere, only extend it that way. Only it will extend it that way. Pretty cool to know. And then you're probably wondering, well, what happens if I click in the middle and move? Okay, clicking in the middle. Okay, I'm going to put that into the Radiant School Live. Okay, any screenshots I take, I'll stick them in the Radiant School Live. That moves it. So whenever you want to move something, you drag it in the middle. But say you can also move something by holding Alt. So if I'm holding Alt, it will treat anywhere as move. You know, it doesn't matter where it goes. It'll treat everywhere as move. Which will be quite handy, okay? If you're working with a wall or an object that's that small, okay, and you select it and you want to move it, you don't want to be able to zoom. You don't want to have to try and move it because you go to move. Oh, it's grown out. Oh, it's grown out. I'm trying to move it, man. It keeps growing. Oh, hold Alt and then you can move it around. This is a very specific case scenario, but it will come in handy knowing this. Another thing we'll teach you is rotate, okay? You can press R and you can rotate an object, okay? So R for Romeo. You can rotate. You can get some interesting angles and stuff. Rotating stuff around. Whatever you have your grid on is how much you can rotate around. So we're a bit off grid, so I can press Control G and it will line it up. But if I press 4 on the grid and rotate, it's going to do movements of, I think, 30 degrees. So, you know, 30, 60, and then 90 degrees. So 30, 60, 90. Say you want to rotate a 45 degrees, you want to press 3 on the keyboard, and now this will do increments of 1, 2, 3. So that is increments of 15. So we've got 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, which is good if you want anything that's, you know, perfectly not adjacent, but intersecting. So yeah, you can see there we created an object which has perfectly intersecting at a 45 degree angle. Really handy to be able to do that. So yeah, it's R. You press the R key to switch between rotating and not rotating. Try and rotate at big angles, okay? Have we seen the sheds yet? No. But I need to wrap this up, so we will get to the last segment now. So yeah, that is how you do that. You can also, I'll teach you the edge tool before we finish this. You can press E on the keyboard for E for echo, E for echo, yeah. This will show blue lines. Blue lines will allow you to drag stuff in weird ways. For the most part, you're going to be picking the corners, okay? So I can manipulate this and make it like that, okay? I'm not going to have time to make the shed in this lesson today, in the first episode. But you guys, please have a go. So yeah, we want to make a shed that's about the size of Bob. Use Bob as a reference, okay? Try and keep it on one screen with the reference image, and the other screen have for your Radiant. So we can see, okay, well this doorway here is probably going to be big enough for Bob to walk through, okay? So that doorway is probably going to be like what, like he's probably ducking his head a little bit, maybe not much. And then next to that, the door, try and use like a reference. So we go, oh, okay, well the door is going to be, must be that wide, okay? And then these edges between the door, okay, they're like about 70 or 80% of the door width, okay? So when you're designing that, you can do that. You can pick, okay, well here's the length of the width of the door, and it's a little bit shorter for the edges, okay? You want to look at it, and you probably don't want to use this texture. Probably use like a grid texture, and check it out. You can even apply the wood texture already if you like working like that. You know, apply the wood texture here. Okay. So yeah. And maybe there's a bit on the top here as well, like that. I'm just going to inset the door a little bit so you can see it. But yeah. With the roof, you got the edge tool, haven't you? You can use the E tool to drag it down. Maybe you could bring that across like this and bring this up like this. But I'll also teach you a cut real quick. If you hold Control and then right click in 2 places, it will put 2 blue dots and a purple line, and then you can use Shift Enter and it will cut that brush, okay? I do have a cutting tutorial, do check that out. But yeah, you can actually cut the brush down here to be able to cut stuff. And yeah, that and the edge tool. So you might want to cut it down the middle first. Or maybe you just want to use the edge tool to drag that up like that. But then that's broken like that. So maybe, you know, select this, put it there to there. Maybe drag this along a little bit so that the width here looks about the same up here. So it's equidistant. So you go down the grid, Shift Enter. There we go. Okay, it's not accurate there, so you can actually line that up a little bit better. You can always use tools to help you measure stuff. Like you could rotate draw something that is straight and then rotate it into place like that, and now you can see it as like a little reference guide to see how accurate your aligned version is. Okay, generally it doesn't need to be perfect. But yeah, have a go at making the shed, guys, and we'll check them out on the next video. I'm going to go through people that have already made a shed. Oh yeah, I didn't make a shed on this tutorial, not in this lesson. We haven't got time, unfortunately. I'm just going to go to the review stage. Maybe we'll make a shed another time, but yeah. I just wanted to tell you the basic controls so you guys can start playing around in Radiant. It's not an epic shed at all, man. I mean, if you're brand new to the tools, don't worry, man. Just have a go. If it looks like a square, it looks like a square. Show us what you've done, man. I'm interested to see everything. You know? But let's have a look and see what you guys have made, okay? So yeah, you can press the F9 key to see what it looks like in game. Press it again to go back to normal. We got F5 for wireless, F6 for real non-light, F7 for real light, no, F8 for real light. These are like fake light. I don't really use these too much, so they're quite handy sometimes. But yeah, F8 is usually going to be what you're using, and F9 to look at game view. Yeah, F9 for game view, and then yeah, F8 and F9. But yeah, toggle between F9 and not F9. You won't never see entities, outliners and stuff in the game view. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick probes. Yeah, don't worry about the probes right now. Let's get a bob. Bob is your measuring tool, okay? Bob is your ruler from in school, okay? Bob is your ruler for maths. He's your Bunsen burner. You're gonna want this guy in your life, okay? So first thing I'm gonna look at, this one here is by Madgaz. So very nice looking shed, Madgaz. I like the look of this man. You can see he's used some a combination of models and brushes and decals to create this shed very simply and effectively, I would add. Looks really good, man. You don't need to go too crazy and overboard and make like an amazing best shed that you've ever seen in your life. If it gets the job done, it gets the job done, okay? And a lot of the time, people aren't going to stand and stare at stuff. So if you look at a lot of Treyarch maps, you know, everything's not too finessey and crazy in detail. The truth is, if you make something too detailed, the engine's too old and not optimized enough to handle the density of something that's created like with extreme detail. So, you know, using a very simple decal on the top here to dress up the texture here is a very good and effective and cheap way of doing it. So it's good. So you can see here that we've got a mulch, which is a brush, okay, that has been aligned. And yeah, we've got a slight overhang from the wall, which is good. Whenever you actually, is there much? Yeah, there's a tiny little bit of an overhang. So if you think about sheds in real life, they usually have an overhang to help make sure that water drips over and off the sides and it doesn't go into the shed, you know, or touch any of the edges of the wood as little as possible to avoid damp and the longevity of the product, well, of the wood. This is one of the mindsets you want to get into when you're creating stuff is, okay, forget about how I make it in an editor. How is it built in real life and why is it built like that? You want to look into stuff and how it's built in real life and why it's built like that. And you want to design some of those aspects into the design, okay? And help think about it, you know? So, yeah, let's go back to Bob. Bob looks like a pretty good size. It looks like he can get in that shed. And in fact, Bob will probably have... Bob will probably be able to use this shed, okay? quite well. You know, he doesn't have to duck everywhere. It's a nice size shed. This shed has been designed as like an external asset, so you're not going to be going in that shed. So there's no detailing on the inside, and I did not ask for it either. In the task, I just asked to build a shed. So yeah, he's built some guttering, which is a nice little addition. Okay, there is no guttering here, but it's nice to see that he's done something a little bit different. He's missed the little panel here, the little accent that goes on the front of it above the door here. But that's okay. You know, I didn't specify you had to make a shed an exact copy of the shed. But yeah, little accents like this really help add a little bit more complexity and interesting vibe to the models you're making, or to the assets you're making in your level. So yeah, I probably would have added a little bit of an accent like that. But yeah, fair enough. We've got different styles of wood. He's gone for the side plate here. So notice how the wood goes across to the side here, across to the side here, and then upright here. Okay, you can see that he has done this upright door, yeah, he's used models here for the little hinges. Very nice. Models are a great way to add more complexity to what you're making, and be quite optimized, because models have LODs. We'll get into that later on, but basically it's optimization, levels of detail, how it de-renders stuff when you're away from it, or how far you're away from stuff. We've got a glass texture here, we've got a wood texture here, using some brushes to quickly achieve a nice effect. Very nicely done, Mad Gads. Nice little barrel there. Good little entry, especially the 15 minutes you did. I would be happy to have this shed in my map. Going on to the next person, we have wood. This is by Bibba. Bibba, it's the different types of. What is it? There's an interesting thing going on with the shadows here. It's a good attempt, my man. Yeah, you got the little accent here on the top. It's a good starting level, man. Very, very cool. I would say you need to learn to add detail, like blends to it, but you know, we haven't covered that yet, so that's fair enough. Oh, nice. You have made bits out of patches. Really, really cool, man. Like it. And in terms of the proportions, pretty cool, man. That's an acceptable proportions for the shed. I would probably angle this wood to be like along the grain, so it's like almost like, you know, it should be a little bit more that way, or should be like, yeah, lengthways like that maybe. Yeah. So that probably wants to be long ways like that. But yeah, other than that, really, really cool work, man. Oh my god, these were made out of you actually made these out of a patch. That's pretty cool, man. I like that. I like that. You see how the shadows are going a bit crazy here? One of the tricks you can do is you can actually break this you can break this patch up into separate sections. So you see how this is a separate section to the little inner piece here, and if you break this up to be separate patches, the way it reflects light is going to look a lot more natural in a lot of cases. So yeah, that's my little cheap dirty hack to get the light to reflect better, is to cut your textures so that they are like that. And then yeah, if the whole thing's built like this, it's going to look 10 times better. And then yeah, if you used the tool to convert it into a model, it'll look like, yeah, a billion times better, because the light goes a little bit funky here. But yeah, really, really cool, man. I like you use the textures here, but we've got to move on. So yeah, great work, Bibba. Great work, man. Okay, who else have we got here? Program. Got your shed here, Program. So is this the latest one, or is this a new one? Or I think this is your latest. I think this is the latest one. Very, very cool, man. I like it, man. I'm liking the proportions are pretty good. You know, program 115 has gone a little bit further. Oh, actually, I've pulled in Bob. I've pulled in Bob. Your proportions are off. Your proportions are off. Yeah, mods, if you can just Right. So yeah, that's one of the most important things you need to think about when starting off. Is the proportions need to be right, because you can make something that looks great and then, you know, he's a very tall. Yeah, well maybe, you know, maybe we built this for giants. You know, that's what's going on. Yeah. There we go. So Mr. Katz, welcome. Do you know the trick to get perfect line up such as an angle? It's more of a lighting issue when you do something like that. So yeah. The texture thing is really cool, man. Maybe Bob is a kid. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, now other than the proportions, which is the number one thing you need to be thinking about when you're building stuff, is to get the proportions right first. Because if you get the proportions slightly wrong and then start building stuff and you just get carried away, yeah, it'll be a bit tricky to sort out. There are ways to scale stuff down, so you can actually use the scale tool and then scale it down like this. But you want to be careful that when you're scaling stuff, because it then goes off the grid in a lot of cases. But yeah, so there we go. We've got a shed. That's, yeah, like the models didn't scale with it. The models didn't scale with it. Oh my god, it's a mess. But no, really good stuff, man. Really good stuff. Thank you for your submission there. And I like the little bit of scenery, the trees and the fence. Very cool, man. Very cool. I haven't got these models, whatever these are. Flower Sway. Very cool, man. So yeah, that one's by Program 115. Cool, man. Just the proportions caught you out on there. But otherwise, very nice. And I like that you've put it in a setting. Then we've got, who we got here? IceGrenade shed. This is not my shed, but who was this? Whose one is this? Do I get excuse for 20 minutes? Yeah, but it's all good, man. It's easy to forget, like, proportions. If you're, like, just building something for a quick, like, for this, then that's understandable, you know? Abandoned, welcome to the stream, my friend. Hey, legend, man. Thank you for following. So, yeah. Next thing is next. Disqualify the scale. We're not disqualifying everyone. Happy to see Roy. Whose is this one here? All right, let me go find out. So I think this one is, yeah, this one's by Eclipse. Yeah, where's Bob at? Bob. Let's try, yeah, size one. Proportions not too bad. It is a little bit on the big side, but it's not too bad, you know. A little bit on the big side, but that's not too bad in the game, you know. Not too bad. Proportions are quite hard to get right. I put some tools in here as well. That's cool. Really cool. We got a. I like how he's done this. So we got a corrugated metal roof, simply out of brushes. Very, very cool. It's missing a lot of the accents, but he's got the textures the right way around. Very cool. One thing I would say is he's done a cool job with the set dressing and making it look quite nice. But when you do paste grass like this, it's very easy to get carried away and then paste, like, you know, a group together and then paste another group together and use the grid. But with foliage, it can look really unnatural placing stuff on the grid. So when you wanna paste foliage, use the plant tool, okay, and then just start like building around try and click like on the edge of where it is, basically, or just outside the edge, and then fill in the patches. It makes it so much more natural than placing a great big old section. One little trick you can do is if you make a section that is pretty much like a square, then you can copy that whole section and you can paste that whole section like that. And that's a natural way of pasting big sections like that. Boom, boom, boom. Paste that section there. It's much more natural, you know. Then you can control, you can shift alt click and you can press this button here. Drop selection to floor, okay. That will realign everything to the floor to make sure that, you know, there's not stuff floating where we've got different steps. You've got different properties here to see how much they get dropped down. But you can play around there. We'll get to those later on. But yeah, other than what people would call this as model spam, and like the ability of seeing the repetition, yeah, it's a good effort, my friend. All good efforts, good all around. Thank you guys for your contributions on the episode 0. It's been a good introductory episode. So yeah, really appreciate you joining me on this. I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a go at making the sheds. That'll be the task for the next one, is go have a go at making your very own shed, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, once again, the link to the Radiant School is in the description. Head over there, have a go at making a shed. I will update this as much as I can in my free time. I will do. Submit your entries to me on Discord. Just send it to me, DM me your entries. And this has been episode 0, and this is just your introduction to Radiant. So hopefully with what we taught you today, you can get in, start playing around and make your own very own shed, okay? Have a go, okay? We haven't covered a lot in this episode, so don't feel bad if you know, hopefully you can do a little bit more than this block here. That's all I'm asking for you, you know? Do more than that. Just a little bit more than this. You've got it, guys. You've definitely got it. Next time, episode 1, 26th of July, I'm going to review all the other submissions, okay? We'll see how many we get. But yeah, send them to me. Send me your map files for the shed. We'll check them out on the next episode. And the next episode will have a new task for you guys. Do you have a homework assignment? It's to make a shed. Some of you guys have preempted it and just done it before we've even had this episode. So thank you guys. But yeah, if you haven't had a go at this, make a shed. If you've already made a shed, try and make it the best that you can. You know, just go out the park. Try and make this thing amazing. Next thing I would say, yeah, try and get the proportions better, and yeah, make it so, maybe make it one that you can go inside. So like have a little bit of inside detailing if you've made it already and you want to challenge. But yeah, make a shed. I'll catch you guys on the 26th of July. I'll be back before then, but then it's the next Radiant School Live. So yeah, thank you for episode 0, man. Big sad, he downloaded my map and didn't look at it. Did I? Wait, I probably did, actually. I did. All right, let me quickly look at one more. That's it, though. I will check the rest out on the next lesson. One last one to wrap it up with. This is really nice. You got the accent there. The texture's a little bit weird. This is more of like a boat decking / floor decking, like an outside area decking. It doesn't quite look right for a shed. Have a look at what like real sheds are made of, and then use those like type of wood textures. Not all wood textures are the same. There's a lot of different types of wood textures, but generally, yeah, it's really cool, man. Really cool. And in terms of proportions, let's make sure I use the size one. Dude, these proportions are perfect. Really good, man. The windows are riding a little bit high, I would say. There is one plank above the windows here, and generally you wouldn't have, yeah, you would have at least like one plank above a window at least. But yeah, really good proportions, man. And the general like proportions of like the door compared to the edges, compared to the roof, compared to the side bits. Really, really cool, man. I like it. I think the best sort of proportions, though, for general proportions, probably goes to like Madkaz's one, I guess. But then the size of the shed, you've probably got the best one. For creativity, we're using patches to design the actual style of it with a bit more depth. Yeah, we'll go to this guy. Visually, like, great. Go to this one, but yeah, proportionally a little bit off. And then, yeah, this is probably all around. Proportions are really good. A little bit big, but a really nice, tidy shed, which, like, looks cool. If it's scaled down a little bit, it would be really cool. So all around, some really good entries on this episode. So thank you all for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two about Radiant. On the next episode, we're going to go a little bit more in and we'll have a new task for you and everything. But yeah, your task until the next one. And the next lesson is the next one is on the 26th because I'm away on the 19th. But yeah, on the 26th, and then every Monday after that. So yeah, you got a little while to start off. Get yourself acquainted a little bit more, and make us a shed. Send it to me on Discord. Anyway, looking forward to it. Looking forward to the next one. Thank you all for tuning in, guys. Every single one of you, absolute freaking legends. I've really, really enjoyed this. It's been wonderful. So, yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you a starting time on the website, like down here on the website. So, yeah, guys. Take care of yourself. See you on the next one. So, yeah, absolutely awesome. Thank you again. See you later. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Goodbye.